So I call this our decaying society. While we have earthquakes and tsunami waves, cracking, cleansing, I have to ask myself, what does this all mean? And as I ask, I'm given the answers. So to begin with, what are the blessings in a decaying society? As we move through where many people are losing jobs, losing financing, losing homes, losing all solid ground from underneath them, somewhere in there I am being told of ways that this is offering opportunities to us. And one of the ways, as our economic system seems to be falling apart, corporations are fighting to survive and maintain their solidity in our society. At the loss for many, what appears to be a loss, here are a few things that I found. We have to tighten up our belts. And when we tighten up our belts, there are a few things that happen. One, we become much more conscious of being an energy society. What hits our pockets directly, such as gas going up, electric going up, energy going up, literally forces us to look for alternative ways. And there are two major themes here. One is self-sustainability, and the other one is also based on an article I wrote several years ago called Turning Corporations, which is the benefit of a few, into cooperations, which are smaller enterprises and people working together and distributing the wealth. So in terms of one of the first things I want to say that are benefited by a decaying society is it brings back the nucleus of the family and the village, the concept where we gather together and we help one another. And years ago, one of the guiding words I was given was, it takes a village to raise a child. And there's no doubt that everything that we are experiencing today is leading us towards hopefully bringing a better world to our children, for future generations, a cleaner, healthier planet, again self-sustainable, where there's an equal distribution of wealth, where the energy of money doesn't belong just to a few, and then there are others on the other side that are starving. Those things are simply not acceptable anymore. So in the United States, one of the things that we're seeing, where jobs are being lost, homes are being lost, health insurance is going up, one simply can't afford health insurance. There are a couple of really beneficial things taking place that we may not be able to see because they're coming in ever so gently and slightly. Perhaps you live in a huge house and you need to downsize because, well, truthfully, straight out, I don't know if I'm saying this with judgment or not, but straight out, who really needs 50 rooms for a house? Who needs 5 houses? So, in tightening up our belts, one of the benefits taking place is coming together, really downsizing. Downsizing for many middle-class families means kids who would normally be out on their own, or perhaps moving across the country for jobs, are staying home and living together, and it helps to have the whole family together, working together for one place rather than a widespread unit. So it's bringing back the nucleus of the family. Another thing that's happening in it, as I said, it's conserving energy. It's not wasting water. Maybe you're watching the timing in your showers. If you're, what hits the pocket reflects in change of life. Perhaps you are really rethinking, such as myself, I live in Florida and I wonder, why in the world am I paying a dime for energy when I have the sun here every day? So you are looking for alternative ways. It might be something as simple as building a box filled, lined with foil and putting it in your backyard, and instead of turning your stove on, you're baking a banana cake in it. You're drying fruits. So you're cutting down on energy, which of course, well, Mother Nature, Mother Planet loves that. Pharmaceuticals and health insurance, having experienced this year the loss of, my husband lost his job after 14 years, and one of the first things we had to look at was health insurance. So sitting without health insurance when you're in your 50s, well, might be a scary thought, and it was. But it forced me, I'll use the word forced, it forced me to look into other avenues, which opened up doors that I would have never looked into before, and I would never have dreamed of before. I am looking at, it actually brought me, okay, it led me to look at supplements and natural ways, rather than spending the money on a doctor. Say, here you go, here's a thing of antibiotics. Even though I've heard antibiotics weren't great all these years, maybe I didn't pay attention to that because it kills good bacteria. Well, it forced me to find alternative ways, and I learned more and more through this year that the pharmaceutical companies are looking to mimic what nature already has for us out there for free. And where are all these free things? So that has led me to a little more exploration on herbs, natural supplements, which are a lot more, which are a lot less expensive, certainly, than going to a doctor. Possibly not getting proper results that I need or answers that I need, because a lot of the information there is to kind of suppress whatever's taking on rather than getting to the root of it. So I really have taken full responsibility for my health in a complete way. Not an easy thing. Takes time, takes a lot of research, but certainly well worth getting into, because you are in touch with your body. So you're in touch with not only who you are on a spiritual, mental, emotional level, but you are in touch with who you are physically. So rather than, if I had a rash on my skin, rather than putting some kind of ointment on it, I would want to get to the root of what's creating that. The rash comes out on the skin. What's going on inside my body? Is it an allergy? Is it this? Is it that? Is it that? A lack of a mineral? And it has led me to some important things which will probably help create a healthy basis for possibly some other serious things that would have been heading for me in my 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and hundreds. Okay, so one point I want to make there is by insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies keep it raising prices to the point where people absolutely cannot afford it anymore. It forces us to become responsible for our own health and well-being, and that's a great thing. So they are actually creating their own demise, the end of health insurance, the end of medical society telling us we need these pharmaceuticals, we need these chemicals in our body, and it forces us to find other resources, which you will learn if you go out there and start researching. It's everywhere. It's not only cheap, it's free. So that will lead me to the next thing, which is foraging.